Guess who's back? Back again. I don't really feel like I need to go. Give me a moment. I don't really feel like I need to introduce the series again, and honestly, I just want to jump right into it. Just know that this is part 2, and if you want context, then episode 1 is conveniently linked right up there. For those of you who know what's up, I'll give a tiny refresher. We just left off in the middle of the geography section, which you could probably guess from the absurd amount of globes behind me. And in this video, we're gonna finish it up. We went over Africa, Antarctica, and Asia, which means the next one alphabetically is... Argleton is a town in England that does not exist. A pretty normal occurrence for Britain, to be honest. It just kind of appeared on Google Maps, and people still don't know why for certain. Maybe it was made to catch plagiarism in the past. Maybe it's a misspelling. Maybe I put it there and no one's caught me yet. Who knows? The Barcelona Supercomputing Center is a supercomputer located in a century-old Spanish building. Talk about tonal whiplash. Badentsburg is a town that is entirely ethnically Russian and funded by the Russian government. That's located in Norway. The Beans and Bacon Mine is an actual mine located in England, because of course it is. Even better, the article talks about how a cow got trapped in the mine in 2014 and the government needed to rescue it. I assume from all the beans on toast down there. The Bielefeld conspiracy was a theory that stated the town of Bielefeld in Germany didn't exist. It was basically the German equivalent of Wyoming jokes. It started in 1996 and ended in 2019, lasting 23 years. Butthole Road is, of course, another street in England. Why is it always England with these dumbass names? The street became so notable, it is now a tourist attraction. Ferdinand Cheval was a postman from France who collected stones for 30 years and built this weird-looking building. The Coletta Fava was a giant stuffed rabbit an Austrian art group made in 2005 and put on a hill. It's been slowly rotting ever since, and its facial expression reflects this. Schijnfer is the infamously long-named town in Wales that looks like a cat typed it. The full name is... And oh my god, I can never. The Magic Roundabout is a roundabout in England that consists of 6 smaller roundabouts. It's also named after the kids show The Magic Roundabout, which is where Dougal comes from, and that's probably notable. Metaket is an island owned by both Sweden and Finland, and the border looks like this. Oh, that's disgusting. It was going to be split equally in half, but Finland built a lighthouse, so they needed to make it look like a damn yin-yang to keep it equal. Monte Carlina is a skiing resort without the snow. Instead, you ski on a gigantic mound of sand, and yes, they call it sandboarding instead of snowboarding for your information. Mount Athos is a Greek mountain that all women are banned from. It's for religious reasons. The Otherworld Kingdom is a micronation in Czechia founded on... BDSM. They have a mansion, and in that mansion, some interesting things happened. Their purpose was simple. They were into women enslaving men. I think we should move on. The Papa Westray Airport is an airport with a flight that is essentially just a helicopter ride that only lasts 1 minute. Pheasant Island is an uninhabited island that is the victim of divorce. There was a dispute between its parents, France and Spain, so it changes ownership between each of them every 6 months. In other words, this island has to deal with shared custody. The reality checkpoint is a lamppost in England that lies in the middle of a park. The world may never really know why it's a reality checkpoint. The Schwerbelastungsgruppe is a giant concrete cylinder built by Bad Germany. Its only purpose in life was to just be really heavy, just like me. The Sedlec Ossuary is a church filled with the bones of over 50,000 dead people. I'll give them some credit, it looks kind of pretty. The Shell Grotto is an underground path that's decorated with 4 million seashells. It was discovered in 1835, and to this day, nobody has any idea who or where it came from. The Svalbard Global Seed Vault, as its name suggests, is a huge vault filled with the seeds of 1.1 million varieties of plant. It's located on a huge, polar, barely inhabited island that Norway owns, and it makes me happy that even after human demise, we'll still have sunflower seeds. The Angelholm UFO Memorial is a shrine to a reported UFO landing in Sweden. People are insane. The memorial itself looks pretty, though, I'll give them that. The Unst bus shelter is a bus stop in Scotland that is constantly decorated with stuff. It honestly looks like a vibe. It has a sofa and a TV, and the reason it wasn't destroyed is because a 7-year-old called in and said that's where he kept his bike. It's kind of cute. Whitma Wapma Gate is a street in, you guessed it, England. England? What is your problem? Why do you name things like this? The Wooden Spoon Museum is a museum in Romania filled exclusively with Romanian wooden spoons. Imagine you hear that you're going on a field trip and you find out it's the Wooden Spoon Museum. My soul would die. Finally, this section's finished. It's time to say au revoir to Europe and hello to North America. 33 Thomas Street is the most suspicious skyscraper I've ever seen. Located in New York City and formerly the AT&T headquarters, it has no windows, no decorations, and is over 55 stories tall. People think this is a National Security Agency surveillance hub. I really don't doubt it. Alcohol and Drug Abuse Lake is an actual lake in South Carolina. The narrative is that it's named after a rehabilitation center nearby, but it's actually named after me. They renamed it to Village Lake in 2022, which is just... how boring. How tragic. Bubbly Creek is a part of the Chicago River that is filled with blood and guts from the meat industry dumping it. It's called Bubbly Creek because as the organs decompose, they produce bubbles. Ugh, disgusting. Canusa Street is a street that runs along the American-Canadian border. The name Canusa is a mix of Canada and USA. Very creative. Capitol Hill's Mystery Soda Machine was a vending machine that mysteriously appeared in Seattle, Washington around the mid-90s. You would press one of the buttons labeled Mystery, and it would give you cans of soda that haven't been available in America since the 80s. What's even weirder is that it disappeared in 2018 with a note saying, "Went for a walk," and nobody knows who put it there. Cowgirl Manor is... You know what? I'll skip this one. Centralia, Pennsylvania is an abandoned mining town that has been on fire since 1962 because of the coal keeping it alive. Colma, California is a town established as a cemetery in 1923. Around 1.5 million dead people are kept here, and since the actual population is only 1,000, the dead outnumber the living by 1,000 to 1. The Corporate Trust Center is this tiny building in Delaware. I mention it because it's the legal base of 285,000 companies. The one time Delaware is interesting. Crush, Texas was a town established one time for a public stunt. Some guy decided to crash 2 high-speed trains into each other at the town in 1896 and invited a ton of people to watch. When they collided, shrapnel flew and killed 2 people as well as injuring 6. So I'd say it was a smashing success. Why did I write that? That's so insensitive. Dude Chilling Park is a park in British Columbia. It got its name because someone planted the sign as a joke and eventually it became official. Florence Y'all is a water tower in Kentucky. It originally had the message Florence Mall, but legal issues made it change the M to a Y. The Gum Wall is a wall plagued with gum in Seattle. Accidentally made in the 1990s, it became a memorial for attacks in France in 2017. Hawaii 2, originally called Birch Island, is an island in Maine that was purchased by Cards Against Humanity as a joke. Yeah. That Cards Against Humanity. Interstate 19 is an Arizonan highway that uses metric measurements and is the only American highway that does this. This is a relic of the American movement to accept the metric system, which obviously failed. The Island of the Dolls, or La Isla de Muñecas, is an island in Mexico City filled with dolls and doll heads. It's rumored that some girl died there while screaming she wanted her doll, and more dolls kept appearing daily preceding her death. Jackass Flats was the actual name of the testing site for nuclear-powered rockets. It got canceled because people began to hate nuclear energy. Just Room Enough Island is a house people somehow managed to build on a tiny island. People live here. Literally, why would you live here? The M185 in Michigan is a highway that circles a small island and doesn't connect to anywhere else. What's even weirder, it banned cars in 1898. You can only use it by foot, bike, or horse. Because of this, its first motor accident happened in 2005, and before this, it was the only highway to never have an accident. At least they allow emergency vehicles. The Memphis Pyramid is a gigantic pyramid that now sits as a Bass Pro Shops megastore. Some estimates say it's the 10th largest pyramid in the world, and it's a Bass Pro Shops megastore. Mills End Park is the smallest park in the world. Yes, this is recognized as a park. Like, at this point, I might as well make my backyard a national park. Monawi is a town in Nebraska with a population of 1 person. Her name is Elsie Eiler. Nitwit Ridge is a house built in the 50s out of people's litter. Arthur Beale was a garbage collector and used beer cans, car rims, stoves, and more to construct the house. He also named it after me. Plymouth, Montserrat is the capital of Montserrat, but literally nobody lives there? It got buried by a volcanic eruption, and I guess they forgot to legally change it. The Polar Bear Holding Facility is a Canadian prison for dangerous polar bears. Never change Canada. Aggressive bears are put there before they can be relocated, so it's actually useful too. Rabbit Hash, Kentucky is a town that has elected dogs as its mayor since 1998. Unfathomably based. These are the politicians we should be supporting. The Raising of Chicago sounds like an apocalyptic event without context. Here's a question. What do you do when your city starts flooding with unsanitary water? You just lift it up, of course. People literally took jack screws and lifted buildings one by one. Whatever works, I guess. Santa Claus is a town made in the 1940s claiming to have Santa's land office in Arizona. Truth or Consequences is a town in New Mexico that named itself after a 1950s game show and just decided to never change back. I don't even know why they did in the first place. The War of the Roses is a sports rivalry between the Pennsylvanian towns of Lancaster and York. It's named after another historical war of the same title between actual Lancaster and actual York. The world's littlest skyscraper is this building that's only 4 stories. Basically, this guy promised to build a tall skyscraper in a budding Texan town in 1912. When the investors donated tons of money, they didn't realize the contract said 480 inches instead of 480 feet. He ran off with all of the money. What a chad. Zilwaukee, Michigan is the Chinese knockoff version of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And that's the end of the North American section. Baldwin Street is a street in New Zealand that's set at a 20-degree angle. I would hate to live here. The Bayswater subway is a road in Perth notorious for being hit by trucks because of how low it is. There's an entire website dedicated to how many days it's been since a truck slammed into it. The Cardrona Bra Fence is a rural fence in New Zealand where people started attaching bras. It was a popular tourist attraction before people got salty and removed it in 2006. The horizontal falls are waterfalls that seemingly go out rather than down. It's very weird, but they look absolutely beautiful. Kalawao County in Hawaii is the smallest county in the United States by size and the second smallest by population. According to the 2020 census, there's only 82 people living here, and there's no road connecting it to anywhere else on the island. Pink Lake is a lake in Australia that was a rich bubblegum color due to organisms in the water. But then in 2010, it suddenly turned blue again, so I guess that was fun while it lasted. Sandy Island is an island in New Caledonia. Except no, it isn't. You're lying. Google had it labeled as an island until 2012 when it was discovered to just be a patch of ocean. Taumata is a hill in New Zealand that has an even longer name than Rheinfair. It's 85 characters long, what the hell? Te Urewera and the Wanganui River are geographic features in New Zealand that are legally recognized as people. Why? Hell if I know. Finally, the Wedding Cake Rock is a rock in Australia that looks like a wedding cake. I always respect how former English colonies are so straightforward with naming. There isn't much to cover here, so I'll make this quick. Americana, Sao Paulo, is a town in Brazil founded by Confederate soldiers after they lost the Civil War. Yeah. Fordlandia is another establishment in the jungles of Brazil. If I had a nickel. It was established by Henry Ford himself to get rubber for his tires. 3,000 people still live here today. Lençóis Maranhenses National Park is essentially a desert that floods. A desert that floods. It looks cool though, so I'm alright with it. And to end it all off, Alwalfa is a community of Welsh people in Argentina. How did this happen? They have their own dialect and everything. So, that was a lot of skipping. Genuinely, I had to skip 2 in every 3 entries that were just like, wow, look how weird this border is. The geography section is done. We finished it. Most of the other sections are smaller than this one, so those will likely be one-parters. Anyways, I have nothing else to say, so thanks for watching. Remember to subscribe and like the video. See you guys later. Peace.